SMITE 2 just got announced yesterday, and it's already causing quite the stir in their community. If you were saying what Twitter was saying, literally, the game is already dead on arrival.
Oh, wow. Well, that's kind of bad. They should just cancel it then.
So if you're not familiar with SMITE, it's a third-person MOBA with a ton of different gods that you play as. I played it a little bit back in the day, and I actually enjoyed it, but there were just so many other games that I was playing at the time, I just never really invested a bunch of time into it. But the big controversy is that the vast majority of the skins that you purchased or earned in SMITE 1 aren't being moved over to SMITE 2. Now, SMITE 1 initially released in 2014.
So that's what people are mad about? They're mad about skins?
Made on
Sim,
Unreal
o pessoal tá louco com a skin.
SMITE 2, which is set to go into alpha testing, I think in the summer of this year, was built from the ground up on Unreal Engine 5. On the frequently asked questions part of their website, the developers say that SMITE 2 is a multi-generational leap from SMITE 1 from UE3 to UE5. That means we have to completely rework or recreate every piece of content for it to function in SMITE 2. There are currently over 1,600 skins in SMITE.
Most games do this. Like, the only reason CSGO didn't do this with CS2 is because, I mean, gambling on skins is like probably more popular than playing the game. So it's like it would be better if they didn't port over the game and they ported it over the skins.
The skins.
And it's like, yeah, it's CSGO 2 and
tempo limite que a pessoa falou.
Nothing else is the same. And so, like, yeah, I get that.
Excluding mastery skins,
Call of
to
Duty
just port every skin to SMITE 2 would take about 246 person-years of work.
That's a lot of time.
And we couldn't do both that and make SMITE 2 as amazing as we knew it could be if we focused on starting anew. So to make this transition a little better,
I mean, are they wrong? Like, I don't think that they're wrong. Probably not. Yeah, I don't really think so.
É o que eu penso, igual eu falei ontem já, anteontem, todos os dias.
It is disappointing that people don't have new skin, their skins ported over. Like, it's definitely disappointing, and like PoE 2 did that, and so did Overwatch 2. So, like, obviously, it would be great if they were able to do this. But
só que a questão é que o Overwatch 2 e o PoE 2, eles têm dinheiro, né? Pra isso.
Something that, like, you need to have, and like if you don't, the game is DOA? No, I don't think so.
I'll also quote from the facts section. I want to make sure I get all of this right. For every gem that you've ever spent in SMITE 1, free or purchased, you'll receive a legacy gem in SMITE 2.
What's the popular place that everybody plays SMITE on? Does it have its own launcher, or do people play it on Steam? People play it on Steam? Well, let's see how popular the game is. Okay, so like I'm assuming whenever they announced SMITE 2, it went up by a lot. So like on average, they had like 12,000 people playing the game. It's big on Xbox.
É, o ASMONGOLD falou do SMITE.
But like, is it really a good use of their time to redo all of their skins for such a small player base? Like, I don't know if that's a good decision. Like, that's like, for example, so like in my mind, right?
In my mind.
New World's probably about the same size of a game, and or maybe a bit larger depending, right? But somewhere around New World.
Ei, você aí. Você mesmo que tá bravo por causa de roupinha de jogo online. Transar faz bem às vezes, viu?
Ah, bom. Tu não viu não, no vídeo.
New World 2, would I be angry at them that they didn't port over all of the old skins? No. Do I think that they should invest that time and money into doing that? No. Seems like a waste.
Gems can be used to pay for 50% of the price of most in-game purchases in SMITE 2. So things like skins,
sabe como teria como resolver, entre aspas, essa pira das skins? Se o SMITE 2 não tivesse os gods de SMITE 1, fossem tipo deuses do zero. Só que aí seria mais trabalho ainda, né? Aí não daria.
Events in SMITE 2 will be half off until you spend all of your legacy gems. And if you purchase a SMITE Founders Pack, your legacy gems will be doubled. As SMITE 2's currency is changing slightly from SMITE, this ensures that you'll have the equivalent purchasing power. So you basically get a 50% discount on anything moving forward based on how much you spent in the last title, meaning every skin that you want to buy in SMITE 2 will have a 50% discount. You still have to put more money into it, and this is what people are having a big problem with. Because your skins aren't transferring, people are freaking the fuck out. Using comparisons to Overwatch and CS2 as reasons as
I mean, like, let's just be honest though. Like, Overwatch and CS2 have a development studio that is gigantic.
Exatamente, like, esse é o ponto. Eu acho que a galera não tá ligado que o Overwatch 2 é da Blizzard. O CS é da porra da Valve. O Smite é high-res, gente. High-res não consegue... Mano, high-res é tipo aquele seu amigo que come cola na escola.
Like, this is it's a dramatically different like scale. Like, you can't expect a small developer to be able to do that.
Why all of the skins that they paid for and the thousands of dollars spent...
Like, I bet if the developers of SMITE could push a button and just be like, all the skins are ported over, boom, do it, I bet they do it. It's not like they aren't doing it because they don't want to do it.
For the last 10 years should be honored and moved forward.
Outro game.
É a mesma coisa se comparar, sabe o que? Vou mostrar aqui na prática. Uma propaganda dessa aqui. Bem feitinha, né? Bonitinha, né? 3 efeitos. Ó, presente já tal. Com isso aqui.
Oi, pessoal, eu sou o Dolinho, seu amiguinho.
Aqui é high-res. Aqui é high-res. Olha esse índio. Ele não tem alma mais já. Ele não tem alma, mano.
Into the new title. Their Twitter account has been spammed under every single post from gamers angry that their skins aren't being moved up 2 engine generations. This gamer here says, all I read is spend more money, we don't care about your old skins.
To be fair, this is literally a tweet with no likes, no retweets, and no comments that has 3 views.
LOL. The fact that we're supposed to just give up hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of skins, plus to be expected to keep paying for more stuff in SMITE 2 is genuinely delusional. You ain't making more money from me when you won't...
Essa palavra aqui é mais legal em inglês do que em português, né? Ilusório, delusional. You are being delusional right now.
Lá é amigos e amigas.
My money. This game
do saco mole.
Big dick deviant says,
I'm sorry to say, but like I think that they bring a good point in. But at the same time, there is a little bit of ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness.
Like, not respecting your money and you're buying skins in a video game. Like, I don't think that you're respecting your money either.
Ih, meteu aqui o papo. Que dinheiro com skin podre?
Skins in a video game, like not respecting your money and you're buying skins in a video game. Like, I don't think that you're respecting your money either.
Caralho. O cara veio com os dois pés na porta. Negra, venenoso.
Like, that's just my opinion, right? Like, I'm not saying that like they should just delete or take away all.
Não entendi bosta, ele falou que ele tá respondendo que o pessoal fala que é falta de respeito da high-res não trazer as skins. Ele falou: você tá fazendo uma falta de respeito com o seu dinheiro, gastando dinheiro na skin de jogo. Ele falou isso.
Skins, but like, do we really have to get that serious about it?
50% discount isn't enough for the thousands of dollars we spent on this game. Real WRU says you guys are criminals. I want a refund for all the skins that I have purchased. And Dexterol here says, honestly, I don't think I'm going to play SMITE 2. I have over 1,300 skins, spent thousands. If they can't even port the skins over, there's no point.
My God.
They're not even giving you the gems to buy them back. They're basically giving you legacy gems to buy a skin.
Verdade. O Gel GT veio com um ponto fortíssimo, mas eu tenho Optimus Prime. Esse porte... essa frase vem forte, mas eu tenho Optimus Prime. Isso aí já vem no counter.
This user here just wants them to port all of the old models into Unreal Engine 5 without changing the graphics. The game will still function the same. You'll just see lower quality skins from UE3 and the new UE5 skins can coexist. Tell me you have... Zero.
Se a Reis não tivesse o histórico de meter o foda-se pra quem gasta dinheiro no jogo, nada disso teria acontecido.
Teria.
E é de HJ que Reis tem histórico de ferrar com dinheiro investido no jogo.
Mano, qualquer coisa que a Reis tivesse feito e alguém ia reclamar. Igual eu falei na live do Messias hoje sobre isso. Se a Reis... falaram, o SMITE 2 é igualzinho ao SMITE 1, que bosta. Se a Hi-Res lança o SMITE 2 como um jogo totalmente diferente do SMITE 1, o mesmo cara que reclama ia falar o seguinte: nossa, é outro jogo completamente diferente, não vou jogar, que bosta. Literalmente, não tem. É internet, rapaziada, não tem como fugir de reclamação. Tudo vai ser reclamação.
Clue about anything you're talking about, but I'm really
well, and it's also like, yeah, I feel like it's probably not that simple. Number one. Number two, all of these people are looking at it from a perspective of a person who is a big fan of SMITE, and they're actively playing SMITE. So these solutions and these problems are from the mindset of a person who is super invested into it. They're like, they have $1,000 into it. Like, is it a good thing for new players whenever SMITE 2 comes out that they log into the game, even theoretically, and they see a bunch of low poly models? No.
Imagina chegar os caras novos do SMITE 2 e ver um monte de... e ver a skin dos Zeus antigos com um pé gigantesco.
They would think, wow, this game looks really cheap. I don't think I want to spend money on it. So it's like, again, they're not
curious as to what you guys think, because
that doesn't mean that they're wrong. Like, I don't think that they're wrong for being frustrated and disappointed, and I think that they're right. It does suck that this is happening, but at the end of the day, I can see why they would do it.
I'm kind of sitting here and like, I can definitely understand the frustrations from gamers. Like, you spent a bunch of money on this game, a new one's coming out, and like all your skins like no longer transfer over. Yeah, that sucks.
It
but
does.
like, duh, like, is this not what we've been talking about for the last like 10 years on this channel? Microtransactions are a money sink. Like, you don't buy microtransactions if you're not okay with
you don't own them. And that's a big thing that a lot of people need to understand whenever they purchase a microtransaction. Whenever you buy, let's say, the Celestial Steed in WoW, or like one of these cosmetics in SMITE, you don't actually own that cosmetic.
Isso aí uma galera não sabe. Eu tava vendo o pessoal falando que ia denunciar a Hi-Res porque eles estão perdendo a skin que eles pagaram. Mas quando você assina os termos de condição do SMITE, lá mostra que você não tem nada. Inclusive, se a Hi-Res quiser te banir só porque você é você, ela pode. Inclusive. Por exemplo, o que aconteceu com o Demi Brandon, que era um streamer gringo antigo. A Hi-Res falou assim: você não pode mais streamar meu jogo, e se você streamar você vai ser banido. E todas as suas contas vão ser banidas, se você jogar com qualquer outra conta ela vai ser banida também. Então basicamente eles podem fazer isso. Mesmo se fosse considerado errado, eles podem fazer isso ainda.
We own a license that allows you to use the cosmetic that's given to you by the developer that they can remove at any time for any reason. You literally don't own anything. It's only one step above having an NFT.
Is losing them when the next games come out. Now, I know a lot of people are making comparisons to Overwatch. Overwatch was literally regarded as like a 1.5. It was like people were pissed that
and that's also a very good point. Yeah, like, why are you comparing to Overwatch 2 whenever Overwatch 2 was bad?
Basically felt like a DLC.
O pessoal fala que o Overwatch 2 é ruim.
Difference there is like
Thiago, also follow.
The game is essentially running on the exact same engine. This is the first year that Modern Warfare allowed you to bring your skins forward, which was a cool thing, but Modern Warfare 3 has been destroyed in the online community for being a DLC and being not that much of an engine upgrade. So while they brought the skins over, the upgrade to it was
Overwatch 2 foi um meteoro?
This is taking
Na minha visão de quem não jogou Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2 é bom, pra mim.
Skins and UVs and all of that from Unreal Engine 3, an engine that came out.
I think this guy's bringing up a really good point, and actually it illustrates a bigger delusion with people that think that Web 3 is the future of development for video games, and that you can own your skins and then use them in other games. Like, for example, people think that, like, oh, well, you want to be able to own, you actually own the NFTs for these skins. Why would it be
Como assim o pessoal consegue usar skin de um jogo em outro jogo? Tem isso agora também?
Developers' best interest for them to program in functionality for skins in
O
another.
Overwatch 2 é ruim mesmo, tá seguindo o mesmo caminho do 1. Lança uma coisa a cada 2 meses e depois fica morno barra frio. É, eu percebi que o Overwatch 2 ele tem pouquíssima atualização, os eventos são muito caros, são ruins. Pra mim, jogo bom é igual o Path of Exile. O Chris já disse que se ele criar 10 novos jogos, você vai poder usar as skins que você comprou em todos. E é a única forma de você perder tomando um ban perma. Doideira isso aí.
Another video game. Why would they ever do that? Like, if you have Invincible in World of Warcraft, how exactly would you use that in Counter-Strike? Because that would require the developers at Valve to program in being able to use Invincible. They're completely incompatible. And this is like, again, people always compare. It's like, oh yeah, it's the gun. It's like, oh, one gun to another gun. But that's just not the way these games work.
What, 15 years ago? Upgrading to Unreal Engine 5, which I know would be a lot of work. On top of the fact that the game is now being built from scratch on Unreal Engine 5, it would be a fuckload of work to be able to make this happen. But the community is up in arms. So while I'm sitting here, like, I understand the frustration from gamers, but I also...
É igual eu falei, eu entendo a frustração da galera, mas só que tem que segurar a onda um pouco, eu acho.
So think, like, if you spent thousands of dollars...
Não tem como passar do 345, não. Tem que ter como tem, né? Pelo que eu vi, tem como. Palavras da Epic, eu não entendo de programação de jogo, mas pelo que eu vi, tem como passar. Só que é trabalhoso.
In microtransactions in a video game, that's kind of on you, right?
It is.
But, like, I'm all for...
It's definitely on you, and like, you can't expect the video game to exist in a way that makes you feel good about your microtransactions. It's a very selfish perspective to have. It's like saying in like a gacha game, well, I don't want to have them add in new characters because the new characters would make my old characters not as important. It's very selfish, and it's also
Jesse,
like, it's reductive to what the potential of the game could ever be.
Pro-consumer practices, but this just feels a little strange to me that people who bought skins back in 2015 expect those skins to be ported over to a new game. Even if you bought skins...
Well, I think that, again, people just want that, right? I mean, it's not that even that they expect it, they just want it. Because some games have it, some games don't have it. Smite 1 will still be available even whenever Smite 2 is out.
Isso é estranho demais, só que eu entendo.
Selfish, but if there's enough customers that feel that, you don't have a fan base. Well, you also don't have a fan base if all you do is make things that reward people that are already customers. Because eventually those people will drop off naturally. I think
isso que eu falo. Mano, esse cara tá falando tudo que eu falei de um jeito mais inteligente, porque eu falo igual um canguru às vezes. O jogo, o Smite, ele ia acabar eventualmente, tá ligado? O Smite, ele ia acabar eventualmente, porque só os únicos players que jogavam eram nós, quem já tava aqui, os velhos. E a Raiz, ela quer captar novos jogadores.
WoW is a great example of that. So, like, if you only make content for the people that are already playing your game, you never expand your sphere of influence beyond that.
Ele faz tanto react que ele fala tudo certo com naturalidade. O cara é pro reactor. Eu não faço react suficiente.
Even last week, you can still use them in Smite 1. You can still play them. You weren't scammed, but the calls that like Smite are criminals for
let's take a look and see right now. Smite game. Okay, so we're gonna look at their last 3 tweets. There's this one.
Nossa, quanta aba, meu filho.
There's this one.
Quanta aba, Jesus Cristo.
And then there's this one. Okay, so let's look and see how many people are actually bringing it up. Smite 2 looks amazing. So these new skins will transfer. Is there no reason to buy a new skin if they aren't transferring? I mean, to be fair, like, this is a very fair question. Like, this guy's asking, like, are the skins that you are advertising in this tweet going to transfer?
Sim,
like, this
vai transferir.
This one. Good update. How are we going to fix the battle pass? Better have Smite 1 skin. Okay, so there's one guy. Okay, so it's like there's one guy who posted something that was problematic, and he was complaining. He's one guy. And then let's look at the second.
One guy plays the game. Cara joga o jogo.
Next week are the avatar skins. I mean, this is a very fair question, right? Makes perfect sense.
Novo jogo tudo do zero. Ninguém com mais nem menos que ninguém. Isso vai ser bom para novos jogadores. Ainda mais a questão de ter skin limitada. Eu espero que a Hi-Res pare de lançar skin limitada. Porque muita gente vem querendo, tipo assim, eu comecei a jogar agora, como é que eu pego o Arconte? Não tem como pegar o Arconte.
Okay, there's one person, right? Which is like, I mean, to be fair, like if you're advertising skins right now in SMITE 1 and you're telling people that they're going to be gone in SMITE 2, it seems very fair that people would bring that up. I think that's totally true. Then there's this one here, Quiet Throwback Friday. So this is like, there's nothing. I feel like this isn't so bad. Deep dive on some of the features. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people really aren't bringing this up as much as it might seem. What's the point whenever skins don't transfer? Was this the same guy? No, it's a different guy. Okay, so there's like, this has like 4 likes. Check the Reddit. Let me see. I'll look at the Reddit. SMITE 2 skin should automatically include color forge idea. Oh, about having, yeah, you can change the color. Yeah, that's probably true. Let me see. The top for this month. Y'all talking about skins, gameplay of SMITE 2, it really matters. Possible Cupid remodel. Clarification of skins. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is pretty contentious on Reddit. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the top posts and it has 500 comments. Yeah, okay, all right. There's enough people that are like that.
Rebuilding the game on a new engine and providing a
Eu ainda acho que tá porrada essas skins, tipo skin exclusiva de beta, nunca mais ter outra na vida. Talvez, né?
Experience on a new engine, a sequel to bring new life
no jogo
to
ainda.
the game, and they are met with
this is fair.
Just an overwhelming amount of negativity because people.
Well, no, it's totally fair for people to be negative. They spend a lot of money and they really like the skins and they want to be able to use them in the new game. They're not wrong for thinking that or feeling that way. That's totally true.
Acho que a Play, a call da Raia seria o quê? Lançar igual eles lançaram, e quando o SMITE 2 estiver nos trilhos já, sendo jogado e tal, eles fazerem a questão de tipo, nesse patch notes vai ter tantas skins novas e vamos lançar 5 skins antigas pra você comprar. Tá ligado? Arrumando.
Who
it's just like they
money
can't do it.
And spent potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars on skins aren't going to have them in a sequel when they didn't even know a sequel existed at the time of purchase. I'm having a tough time defending the gamers here, but it's weird because...
Well, I think that it would be really nice if the SMITE 2 developers said like, hey, you know, like over time we're going to add some more of the SMITE 1 skins in.
Acabei de falar.
Like not all of them, but like maybe a few every year, or maybe like 5 every year for each champion. That'd be nice if they could do that. Maybe a bit of a compromise, because a lot of people did invest. Because at the end of the day, right? They did say
Gente, não fala o nome dele inteiro, porque entre o As e o D tem uma palavra que é bloqueada na minha live, eu não posso falar em voz alta. Então só fala Asmo ou esse cara.
They are every week. They did? Oh, well... What the fuck? Well, then why are people getting mad? Like, yeah, I don't even get that. So if that's happening, then... Because what did they say in the Reddit post? You said most things are going to be on. How'd you choose the divine skins? Why not port the skins? Yeah, obviously it doesn't work that way. Okay, so they didn't really say anything about that in at least the infographic that they made. Let's get microtransaction system doesn't make sense if the game isn't meant to be continued and suddenly gets a sequel after a few years. I mean, after a few years though, right? I mean, SMITE's been out for 9 years, hasn't it?
10
I mean, it's been a really long time that SMITE's been out. I think that expected 10 years. I mean, it's been 10 years, man. Like, I feel like it's fair. Like, it's not like they're replacing it. It's not like they're pulling a Call of Duty, right? And they're just making a new one every year.
On top of just seeing random gamer faces bitch about this.
Because, like, you got to keep in mind, like, the other thing I was going to bring up is, like, the reason why they're able to make SMITE 2 is because of the people that bought the microtransactions in SMITE 1.
Óbvio, né?
That's where they got the money.
Eu vou
So,
sair,
like,
Spec.
being able to add in some of those skins over time is very reasonable. Like, I think it's very fair for them to say we can't port them all over, but we'll port over some of the ones that people really like, and then we'll give you a discount on the other ones. I think that's very fair.
Line, I'm also seeing guys that I respect in the space, guys like Kira, talk about, you know, fuck this company, SMITE about to make crypto bros feel vindicated. I don't know if that commentary even works either, because if all the SMITE skins were NFTs, they still wouldn't work in the new game, because
that's what people don't understand. Yeah, just because you have an NFT doesn't mean you can just like flawlessly port over some NFT from
NFT é uma putaria, né?
game. What about if the game is made in Unreal and then the other one was made in some proprietary engine? Like, how could you do that? The coding wouldn't even fit together.
To still do that work to make them function on the models regardless. Like, this, I don't think this makes crypto bros feel vindicated. I'm also just wondering, like, why people are as outraged as they are. Like, you bought skins in a game that still exists. A new game is coming out and you just expect them to put all that work into transferring all of those skins over. That hasn't been the standard for a long time. Like, you can look at Overwatch 2 and Modern Warfare 3 and hell, even CS2.
It might not be a standard, but it's an ideal. I think it's very fair for people to not be happy that it's not happening. Like, yeah, I think it's
Copia da canção ser banida, né? Gente, o
it sucks, but
vídeo tá quase acabando. Bora.
Yeah, they've done it. FIFA every year doesn't take anything that you purchase over. Like, that's
FIFA é ridículo, por exemplo.
We've known this for
FIFA é
years.
ridículo.
Games like FIFA.
And I also think that you should not ever buy a skin expecting for the game to exist in perpetuity. It is a very unhealthy mindset.
É literalmente, se o Smite falisse, não teria skins, tá ligado? Literalmente não teria skins se o Smite falisse.
Fucking Call of Duty and Madden, they're a yearly release. SMITE has been going on for 10 years. So you expect 10 years of work on skins to be ported over to the new game.
That's crazy.
It feels entitled.
There's no way.
And usually when I have these conversations, I'm on the fucking side of the gamer, because a lot of these companies are scummy companies. They're greedy companies. But I'm trying to figure out where SMITE went wrong here. Like, maybe they didn't need to make a sequel, but like the way I see it is maybe they realized that, like, you know, 10-year-old code, potentially longer, on Unreal Engine 3 is just not going to hold up for what they want to do. They make a new game from.
Here's the problem with SMITE. This looks like garbage.
Caralho, chamou o Smite de lixo, mano. Tadinho de
That's
nós.
the problem. It's just like, wow.
Fica ponto igual o outro lá.
Oi?
Fica ponto
It
igual o
looks
outro.
like it came out in
Falar. Ai. Nossa, amor, ele é mau caráter.
Babaca.
Que babaca.
Bizarro.
Ai,
bizarro.
que cara bizarro. Ai, mau caráter ele, demagogo ele.
2015.
Ai, para.
Ai, demagogo ele. Ai, que cara babaca, gente.
Nossa, ele realmente é babaca.
Like, there are games,
Ele tá
like,
mentindo
at a
aqui, gente. Ele tá mentindo.
certain point,
Alguém dá sub? Obrigado pelo sub.
the saturation point where everybody knows about this game and people have just chosen
Tipo,
not
pra quem vem de fora acha o jogo feio. Eu não acho o Smite feio, por exemplo, né? Eu não acho feio, mas é porque eu jogo todo, né? Eu entendi a referência, então. Mas eu já vi umas reações de pessoas de quem vem de fora. Por exemplo, teve o trailer do Smite com o Slipknot. Eu achei maneiro. A galera de fora deu risada, achando que é feio pra caralho, sabe?
play it. And the next chance that you're going to have to like really expand that user base is really with the next game. And I think that's why they're making this new game. That's the main reason.
Scratch. They also offer you 50% discounts because you.
Like, I
Quem
mean,
joga
just
mal
you
já
can
acha
look,
mais
by the
bonito.
way, you can look at the game. Look at the game. Since 2020, which to be fair, it's grown a lot. But like, it was doing pretty well. This is in 3 years. Like it's doing worse than it has in like 3 years. I mean, obviously it's gone up a lot recently because of, I don't know, maybe some sort of update or you know, the announcement of the second game. But like, yeah, that's also COVID, right? So
Covid.
I mean, it's not like the game is doing amazing.
Não, o HUD do Smite no lobby é horroroso, não tem como. O HUD do lobby é feio pra caralho. Isso aí eu sempre falei, parece um jogo mobile.
So I can see, like, you know, they're looking at the graph and they're thinking, wow, our game is
O Roblox tem milhões de jogadores, gráfico importante. É porque o Roblox ele já é um jogo mais pra criança, né? Igual vários jogos tipo Minecraft, que é mais focado pra criança. Aí as crianças elas não ligam tanto pro gráfico, assim, hoje em dia. Tipo, eu não ligo tanto pro gráfico. Mas pra players novos é mais atrativo um jogo assim do que o de hoje em dia, né?
slowly dying. Yeah, it is. It's slowly dying.
O problema é o cara achar Smite feio lá bonito, já vimos assim. É que o LoL você vê de longe, né? Você vê de cima. Todo mundo sabe sobre esse jogo, mas escolhe não jogar porque a aparência é ruim. Ele falou, o cara do vídeo que tá reagindo falou assim: ah, eu joguei Smite tempo atrás, só que eu tinha outros jogos pra jogar, então nunca dei muita graça, nunca dei moral pro Smite.
I'm trying to figure out where their greed is coming from. A game that they supported, again, it's a free game for 10 years. Yeah, they have microtransactions for sure, but those microtransactions are all just cosmetic skins. And like, if you feel like you've been robbed of your thousands of dollars that you spent, even though you're using the skins in the game
você usou a skin.
I don't really get it. If Smite 2 just like never...
Mano, tipo assim, vamos supor que uma skin é R$40. Você comprou a skin na Season 3. Você usa ela até hoje.
Ela já se pagou, né?
Você meio que já aproveitou a skin inteira. Ou mais até, né? Se você é meio Fafini que não tem skin nunca. Eu comi uma pizza agora, vou ligar e pedir refund.
And all of a sudden Rainbow Six Siege 2 gets announced 3 years from now, and I just expect all of those skins to transfer over. Like, no, this is the standard. This is what we've been talking about for years. This is why microtransactions and buying microtransactions is a waste of money.
Bem isso, Bené, falando. Cara, eu acho que quando estiver chegando perto do Smite 2, eu vou ter que fazer outro vídeo falando sobre isso, porque, tipo assim, teve o rebuliço ali, né, a treta rolando, e agora reduziu um pouco. Inclusive na minha live tá até falando um pouco menos. Talvez depois eu tenha que fazer um vídeo ou um short comentando de novo. Qual o nome desse infeliz aí do vídeo? É o ASMONGOLD.
Yeah, that's the thing is like people think that like what do you like you thought you were buying stocks? What is this?
Me, it feels like I'm just seeing a lot of entitlement online and just a lot of just like overwhelming negativity about this game release. And even though I have no skin in the game, it's like I'm not a Smite player, I don't play it consistently.
Não transferiu o Warzone 1 pro 2? Sério?
When the standard in the gaming
gente, não digita o nome do cara por causa que o nome dele tem essa palavra aqui, ó. Essa palavra aqui, ó. Entre o A e o G, ó. Tem essa palavra aqui que eu não... E o bot, ele entende como se fosse a palavra só. Eu não posso falar essa palavra em voz alta, tá ligado? Então, não fala o nome dele inteiro. Tem que falar assim.
Why is this game getting so much?
Eu tô ligado que ele é maior, ele é extremamente gigantesco. Tipo, ele é grande nível Alanzoca lá fora na gringa? Ou tipo, maior? Porque isso, porque um tempo atrás a palavra foi dada como uma palavra tipo racista, xenofóbica. Ele é muito maior do que o Alanzoca? Então, interessante esse vídeo aqui, tá? Foda que não vai chegar nos BR, né? Quase. Tipo assim, eu conheço pouco dele. Eu comecei a ver ele recentemente por causa que ele começou a jogar Monster Hunter. Só por causa disso. Eu não conhecia muito ele.
Invested over 10 years, bought a lot of skins, and they want to keep the skins. Like, I don't think that it's really... It might not really be all that serious. It's just that they want to keep the skins. That's it.
realize how much you've spent on it, and like it just sucks that shit, like, did
No
you
tudo
think
também é
the
maior?
game was gonna
Pode
be
crer.
around forever? Like,
Yeah.
what would happen if Smite, instead of announcing a sequel, just announced that they were shutting down? Would people be asking
Fechando
for
para
refunds?
baixo.
Would be like,
Fechando para baixo.
I don't know. It's a weird conversation, but now I'm curious to see if the community is actually
This is I'm glad that like now, because you know microtransactions have been the norm for about 15 years now. Like where we've had microtransactions in a lot of games and people are kind of like acclimated to it in the last 10 years.
É que microtransação é a cal, né? É fazer um jogo de graça que faz skin bonita. Olha o Fortnite. Por que você acha que o Fortnite é famoso? É um jogo bonitinho, tem skinzinha bonitinha, tem emotezinho bonitinho e a galera compra. É por isso que o Fortnite é tão famoso, ficou tão grande. Em questão de dinheiro. Além do jogo ter sido bom na época. Se eles querem fazer um jogo novo, então atinge público totalmente novo. Ficar tentando agradar a player base atual não faz sentido. É, tipo assim, eles têm que fazer. Eles têm uma linha ali pra fazer. Trazer novos players e agradar quem é das antigas. A gema legado já é um bagulho que vai ajudar a galera das antigas a ter um bônus ali, né? Dentro do jogo. Mas você falou aí, Ganhe, tamo junto. É a forma mais fácil de monetizar um jogo. É. Jogo pago. O único jogo pago que eu vejo que foi bem estourado foi o Overwatch 1 na época. E o Rainbow Six, talvez o CS, que é meio de graça, não tem direito de CS. Esse cara não está lançando sem nenhuma DLC que tinha no 1, agora vão ter todos os DLC no 1 de novo, só que no 2. Igual aquele jogo do dinossauro, né?
This is what you're buying is just transient fucking pixels that you don't even own. And I think that it's a good thing as like a reality check for these people.
Going to support it come launch, or if they're just going to stay on Smite 1 and just let the sequel die. I don't know. It's a weird conversation, and I feel like this is one of those times where I'm not on the side of the game.
Ele é tão crescendo que na série Netflix do julgamento do Depp, ele aparece reagindo ao julgamento.
I totally understand where they're coming from. I think that it's super disappointing that they're not going to have the skins, and it sucks. But I can also see why the developer does it, and I totally understand that too.
Por isso nunca faz sentido pra mim gastar com skin em jogo algum, mas cada um sabe o seu dinheiro. É, tipo, tem gente que não liga em gastar dinheiro com skin, tem gente que liga, tem gente que... Sabe? É questão de gosto. Mas igual, quando você investe o seu dinheiro nas skins, você tem que estar tomando um risco. É igual uma pessoa que gastou milhares de dólares num jogo e aí a pessoa é racista no chat e é banido pra sempre. Aí o argumento é, nossa, eu gastei $2.000 no jogo e fui banido só porque eu falei uma besteirinha, sabe?
There is no right option here that makes both parties happy.
É um risco que você tá tomando.
Cost either a tremendous amount of disappointment or a tremendous amount of time. It just sucks.
E fora que o Smite já deu muita coisa de graça, tá? Muita coisa de graça. Tem a gema semanal, tem os eventos e tal.
I think that is like such a great compromise. That is such a great compromise, and I mean, realistically, for a live service game like this, you couldn't ask for more. I think this is very fair.
Vai ter gente que joga o jogo de graça, que jogou o jogo sem pagar nada no Smite 1, que vai ter um monte de gema legado no Smite 2.
I don't know, man. I feel like they did everything as right as they could outside of spending all of that time and resources porting all of your skins over, which if I was
com a gema semanal dá pra comprar a parte boa. Mano, na minha conta secundária, eu não ponho gema nunca, né? Conta secundária. E direto eu tô com 600 gemas, 800 gemas, tipo, só existindo naquela conta.
Let me know what you guys think down below. This is a conversation that has been stirred up
I would do what they did. I would add in some of the really popular ones, like obviously because like they have graphics.
Obviamente cu. Ué. Eita, não sabe como fazer isso. Que loucura. Obviamente cu. Ué.
You know, data on like which skins are being used the most, right? And so I would just take the top 50 of
Mas eu não vou deixar embaixo.
The top 20 of each character and port all of those over, and then say, hey, if there was another one that you guys really like, you know, let us know, and maybe we'll do it after release. Like that's probably what I would do. top
my
5.
timeline, so I wanted to talk about it,
right?
because hey, there's nothing going on in the
Em 9 anos
FPS
coloquei
space
gêmeos
right now.
duas vezes e tem coisa pra caralho.
Finals and
Só que no
Rainbow
Smite,
Six and Call of Duty, but I'm
o
not
Smite
really a
dá.
gameplay channel, so I don't put just like raw gameplays up.
A real é que grande parte do player base só quer saber de skins e jogar mais casualmente possível. Essa foi a cultura que foi no Smite. Nem é tão ruim isso, inclusive. Inclusive no Smite 2 vai ter a chance, né? Ele pode virar um jogo competitivo ou pode virar um jogo mais casual. De qualquer forma, se der certo qualquer um dos dois, tá God, né? Claro, competitivo é melhor.
There's really nothing else I want to talk about in the FPS space until we hear news about games like Gray Zone or Pioneer or whatever. So I saw this, I was like, you know what? Microtransactions have been a staple discussion in this community for a while, and I'm curious to know what my community thinks. My name is Big Fry. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you on the next one.
Oh, Big Fry's in chat. There it is. He says, yeah, every time people were telling you that I was watching, yeah, it's a good video, man. I think you bring up some good points. Like, here's the thing, is like, I fucking agree, man. I agree. I think that gamers are being unreasonable. I'll link you guys the video. Give them a sub if you like the video. This is a good video. It is. And, yeah, hard to disagree. Yeah, no, I think this is very fair. And,
Eu vou dar um like no vídeo do cara que assistiu também, por causa que...
Alright,
né?
so I have something that I
Traz um pouco de público pro Smite de todo jeito, né? Isso que é foda, né? O vídeo do cara reagindo tem mais view e like do que o vídeo oficial, coitado do cara.
I think is
Mas enfim, é isso, né? Não tem muito o que falar além disso. Acho que eu vou ter que fazer um vídeo mais baseado nisso. É que os vídeos que a gente fez, que eu fiz pelo menos, foram muito tipo em cima da hora. O pessoal até reclamou pra eu fazer um vídeo mais focado do que fazer um vídeo de corte de live, por exemplo. Mas na hora que anunciou, filho, a gente ficou louco, né? Ficou louco, ó. Saiu jogando um vídeo igual maluco. Tá ligado? Tanto esse, quanto esse, quanto esse, quanto esse. Mano, foi muito doido. Esse dia foi muito louco, velho. O dia que eu falei que vazou informação sobre o Smite 2, lançou logo em seguida. O negócio é esperar, nem vale ficar nessa tecla. Então. Acho que eu vou esperar um pouco quando estiver mais perto do jogo lançar. Que aí quando tiver perto do jogo lançar, o assunto talvez volte à tona e a gente vai ter os argumentos mais fáceis de explicar, né? Eu sabia de tudo já, só que eu não podia contar, né, gente? Eu já não podia contar, eu já sabia, mas não podia contar. Eu não sabia o rolê das skins só. O bagulho do jogo ser casual. Mano, o jogo tem 15 modos de jogo, velho. Nisso ele já fica casual pra caramba, tá maluco. Mas enfim, é isso, rapaziada, ó. Eu vi que a maioria da galera do chat já tá um pouco mais aceitando essa questão das skins. Porque muita gente aí no começo tava assim, absurdo, bora boicotar esse jogo desgraçado, nossa, filha da puta. Hoje em dia já tem uma galera que já tá mais compreensiva, que é legal, né, até. Mas enfim.